As you know, the classic Louis Vuitton print is like a dark brownish color, so that's why we're going to use chocolate flavor today to get that dark brown color. But I actually don't like chocolate Swiss rolls by itself like that, so I'm going to add a coffee flavor to it. So it'll be like a mocha chocolate coffee Swiss roll. Yeah, so let's start. So first we're going to need this Louis Vuitton print. Just get this off Google. Make sure it is backwards though, so that we're going to draw it backwards, and then when we bake it and flip it, it'll be normal. So make sure it fits onto your 9x15" baking sheet. I'm going to leave a little bit of white space onto the right side, and then I'm just going to place it onto the right side of the baking sheet. You only want to draw out the print to be around a third to like a half of the baking sheet, because when you roll it out, only that part is going to show at the surface of it. So I'm just going to put a parchment paper over it, and then I'm just going to cut slits on the corners so that it fits perfectly into the baking sheet. And we're just going to move this into a flat surface and then draw the design on the flat surface instead of this, because it has edges on the pan. So
now we're going to make the decorating batter, which is just equal parts of softened butter, egg white, cake flour, and icing sugar. Mix it all together until it's smooth. Then transfer it into a piping bag. Then we're just going to cut a tiny snip off the end of the piping bag. Now with the design under the parchment paper, we're going to draw out the design with the decorating batter. As you can see, it's actually very tedious work, so it doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to go in the oven anyways. When you're done, place it in the fridge to let it cool while we make the cake batter. First, we're going to separate the egg whites and egg yolks of 5 large eggs. Now into the bowl of your egg yolks, 1 cracked, add your milk and your oil, and then whisk that together. Then add a tablespoon of hot water into your instant coffee and then mix that together. Add it into the yolk mixture and then mix it all together again. Sift in your cake flour and cocoa powder and then whisk everything together. Now we're going to whip our egg whites and then gradually add in our sugar in thirds. Now I'm going to speed up the process a little bit here, but pretty much you want to whip your egg whites until you get soft to medium peaks like this. Add in 1/3 of your egg whites to the cocoa egg yolk mixture and then whisk everything together. Add in the rest of your egg whites and then using a rubber spatula, gently fold in the egg whites until everything is a uniform color and there's no lumps remaining. This is going to take some time, but make sure you are gently folding it instead of mixing it all together, so you don't want to deflate your egg whites. Now we'll take out our decorated parchment paper out from the fridge and then place it onto the greased baking sheet. Gently pour the batter onto the parchment paper. Tilt the baking sheet from side to side until it's kind of even, and then I'm also going to use the bench scraper to even it out. Tap the baking sheet a few times to release the air bubbles. Then place it in a 335-degree oven for about 17 to 18 minutes. When it's done, smack the pan so the cake doesn't deflate, then remove it carefully onto a wire rack or another baking sheet. Add another parchment paper and baking sheet on top of the cake, and then carefully flip it back over. Gently release the parchment paper off the sides of the cake. Then slowly remove the rest of the parchment paper. Now we're going to flip it back over so that the print is going to be at the bottom. So put a parchment paper and another hard surface over the cake and then gently flip it back over. Now turn the cake and then check the bottom of the cake to make sure that the side closest to you is not the side that has the decorating print, because we want to roll it in from this side. Cut the two ends of the cake at a 45-degree angle, and then also cut off a bit of the sides of the cake so that it won't be as tight on the edges when we roll it. Now I'm just going to roll the cake with parchment paper on top of it while it's still kind of warm, because I'm personally not that great at rolling Swiss rolls, and it's easier to do it when it hasn't fully cooled down. You want to be slow and roll it carefully so that it doesn't break and ruin all your hard work. Carefully tighten it, and then we're going to make the filling for the cake. Now for the filling, I'm going to do half a teaspoon of cocoa powder and a teaspoon of instant coffee and mix it with a bit of hot water. You can adjust the filling based on your preference, but I prefer a stronger coffee taste over a chocolate taste. Now in the bowl of your stand mixer, add in your cream and sugar. Once it's whipped, add the chocolate coffee mixture and continue to whip until it's thick. When the cake has come to room temperature, gently unroll it, and then we're going to put the cream filling inside and then roll it back up again. Gently smooth everything out with a spatula. Now we're going to roll it back up, and it's going to be a lot easier to do since it already has the rolled up shape, but you still should be pretty careful. Again, you want to tighten it with a bench scraper. Now you're going to want to make sure the edge of the cake is at the very bottom of the cake. Carefully wrap it up and tighten it with the parchment paper, and then transfer it onto the dish, and then leave it in the fridge to cool for about 1 to 2 hours. Take it out of the fridge and then transfer it onto another piece of parchment paper. And then now I'm going to cut the edge of the cake so that it has a cleaner cut. Now I transferred it onto a nicer plate and also turned on the light because it was getting dark. And now I'm going to cut a slice. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. Here's another one I did actually, and it looks a little bit prettier.